Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes Mr. McDowell for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here today. I want to touch on, before I get into my questions, something that I did this weekend and yesterday, and I would imagine that I'm the only member of Congress in history who's ever killed a bear and then voted in the same day. And I did that with a Coast Guard veteran from North Carolina, Captain Ernie Dozier. And he's the captain of the Gecko, sport fishing boat out of Ocracoke Island, and served our country in the Coast Guard. And so I just want to take a minute to give a shout out to Captain Dozier and to thank him and to thank you all for the work that you do every day with drug interdiction, with keeping people safe, and all you do, and you do this all at a fraction of the budget that you actually need. So I just wanted to say thank you for what you do. But Mr. Von I have a question for you. As the Coast Guard is responsible for safeguarding our maritime transportation systems from cyber threats, and that includes our ports, terminals, vessels. In your opinion, does the Coast Guard have the actual resources they need to meet the critical cyber mission here?
Thank you, Ms. Representative McDowell, for that question. Our work didn't evaluate whether they have sufficient manpower or the expertise in the cybersecurity area. We were focused on, how they were approaching regulation of commercial autonomous vessels. We have work in the past looked overall at the Coast Guard's workforce and have raised concerns generally about workforce planning, and ensuring that they have the people that they need, and we've made recommendations around those issues. But as far as specific, whether they have the specific expertise in this case, I'd have to defer to.
Yeah, Admiral Tom, I'll ask you, do you all have the resources you actually need for this?
Sir, thank you for recognizing our Coast Guard veteran, Mr. Dozier, down in North Carolina. Sir, Force Design 28, which is the Secretary's direction to build a more agile, capable, and responsive Coast Guard, calls for growing the Coast Guard by 15,000 people. This includes 3 areas. 1, restoring readiness. 2, operating the new assets that have been funded through the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And number 3, to counter emerging threats. And we would squarely put cybersecurity, things like cybersecurity, counter UAS in that emerging threat bucket. And we've answered this question. We absolutely believe that we need more capacity on this front. We have 3 cyber protection teams. We recently commissioned our first offensive cyber team, the 1915 National Mission Team, which is counter our adversaries in cyberspace. But we need some additional capacity there to get after that threat, sir.
As you examine how other countries have approached the same challenge that we're now looking at, what lessons can we learn about how best to balance innovation with safety? And what do you think, who has gotten this right?
Sir, I think on the cyber front, the United States is leading the way in a number of areas with respect to cybersecurity. The recent rulemaking that the Coast Guard initiated in July of this year is actually a very significant muscle movement in terms of increasing the cybersecurity posture of our critical infrastructure. And we, in Cyber Command, we add to that posture. We don't use a compliance-based framework because compliance alone isn't enough to enhance cybersecurity. You need to get out there and work with industry. And I think the advantage that we have in the United States is the incredible power in our private sector, and we have to work very closely with the private sector to address this issue.
Rear Admiral Barada, can you touch on how you all plan to coordinate or how you're already coordinating with the Navy to test these unmanned aircraft systems?
Yes, Congressman. We are working closely, in a couple different fronts with the Department of War throughout, with DHS, Department of Justice. We have several work groups that focus on these types of issues. Obviously, we're working in close conjunction with them. They've the other armed services have had a lot of experience with this. Overseas in combat zones, one of the medium UAS that we're using right now on the back of our national security cutter, which contributed greatly to this historic interdiction year that we've had for drugs. has been very, very successful, and it's provided the Coast Guard, a new asset that vertically takes off and lands, which replaces one that we had to launch from a catapult. For Coast Guard, we're kind of Coast Guard size. All of our ships are really compact on size, and so for us to have this type of capability that we've garnered from the other armed services is going to allow us to put it on all of our cutters, but we'll have all the national security cutters outfitted by next summer.
Great. Well, thank you for all you guys do. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.